At Payback 2013, CM Punk will return to the WWE after a 2-month absence to beat Chris Jericho. The next night on Raw, CM Punk will begin a feud with Brock Lesnar, and over the next couple of weeks, tension will begin to rise between CM Punk, his manager Paul Heyman, and Brock Lesnar. The tension between the three will culminate in one of the best SummerSlam matches of the PG era. But before I could tell you that story, I have to tell you this story. The next night on Raw, CM Punk confronts Alberto Del Rio, who is in the ring doing a promo after he calls himself the best. CM Punk, who proved that he was him the night before, challenges Del Rio to a match later that night. But Paul Heyman does typical Paul Heyman behavior and tells Del Rio that the match isn't going to happen because his superstar doesn't fight for free. Heyman then goes on and on until CM Punk stops him and asks him what he's doing. Because Punk doesn't care if the fight is on pay-per-view or if the title on the line. He just wants to fight. He's giving excuses on why CM Punk shouldn't fight him tonight, but Punk wasn't having none of it. Vicky Guerrero then comes out and announces that the main event of the night will be Punk versus Del Rio. Later that night, Punk and Del Rio are fighting in the main event. Paul Heyman, however, who is usually with Punk during his matches, was not at ringside because Punk said he doesn't need him and that he can do it on his own. So, during the end of the match, Punk hits Del Rio with the GTS, but Del Rio rolls out the ring. Del Rio leaves the ring, but before he can get to the back, Ziggler comes running out like the Flash and starts attacking Del Rio. Del Rio gets counted out, and Punk, who's still in the ring, is like, a win is a win. While the ref was raising his hand, CM Punk had a smile on his face until he hears this. Brock comes out and hits Punk with an F5, initially starting the feud. The next night on Raw, Punk confronts Heyman and asks if he sicked Brock Lesnar on him. Before Heyman could say anything, Punk told him to stop being a scumbag and tell the truth. Heyman puts it on his children, and potentially lied and says he didn't. Heyman then manipulates Punk to trust him again, and they hug. Later on that night, CM Punk faces Darren Young in a one-on-one match. He wins, but is attacked after the match by the primetime players. Heyman then sends out Curtis Axel. This was back when Curtis Axel was actually taken seriously, to help Punk. They take out the primetime players, but Punk is heated. Punk and Paul Heyman go backstage, and an irritated CM Punk tells him once again that he doesn't need him and to chill out. Now fast forward a few weeks later. It's the Money in the Bank, and it's the All-Star Ladder match. It's near the end, no one is in the ring, and CM Punk is the only one that's moving. Punk, while in tremendous pain, slowly climbs up the ladder. As Punk slowly climbing up the ladder to earn his third Money in the Bank win, Heyman slams his hands on the apron, leading the crowd to chant CM Punk. As CM Punk reaches the top, Heyman climbs in the ring, and then Heyman slams the ladder on an already weak CM Punk, causing him to fall to the mat. Then Heyman, with a devious look on his face, slams it one last time for good measure, costing him the Money in the Bank briefcase. Heyman walks out, leaving a betrayed Punk in the ring. The next night on Raw, with Paul Heyman on the entrance ramp and CM Punk in the ring, they cut one of the best promos of 2013. Paul Heyman starts off by saying that CM Punk doesn't exist in his world, and that back before WWE hired him, they saw him as a worthless bum. But Paul Heyman took it upon himself to take CM Punk under his wing and make him the star he is today. Heyman then starts taking credit for everything CM Punk has accomplished in the past 2 years, but puts all the blame on CM Punk for losing to The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Heyman tells Punk that he started to feel disrespected when CM Punk came back. He felt that CM Punk thought he was better than him. Heyman admits that he lied and manipulated Punk, even though he put it on his kids. He lied just to say that he cut CM Punk off and not the other way around. Heyman reveals that he betrayed Punk because he thinks he can't beat Brock Lesnar. Punk comes back by saying he'll hurt Paul Heyman, destroy everything around him, and kill him last. Then out comes Brock Lesnar. As Brock Lesnar slowly makes his way to the ring, Paul sneaks around ringside and sneaks attack Punk from behind. Brock drags Punk out of the ring, sets him up for the F5, but Punk scrambles out and fires back with forearms. But Brock quickly grabs Punk and throws him against the barricade like a dead animal. Lesnar continues to throw him around, but Punk doesn't give up and attacks Lesnar every chance he gets, only to fall victim to the brute strength of Brock Lesnar. Lesnar finishes the beating with an F5 on the announcer's table. The next week on Raw, CM Punk says he's not scared of Brock Lesnar and challenges him to a match at SummerSlam. Heyman accepts the challenge on Brock's behalf. On the August 5th, 2013 episode of Raw, with Brock, Heyman, and Curtis Axel backstage, Brock cuts a promo saying how he's the beast and the best. Then tells Paul to say something stupid. And Heyman goes on to challenge CM Punk to a one-on-one match the next week on Raw. CM Punk realizes this was a trap and the next week decides to sneak attack Paul and Brock Lesnar. Punk sneaks up from behind, grabs the camera, and smashes it against Brock Lesnar's skull. Punk smashes the camera against Brock Lesnar's back before he rolls out of the ring. Before Brock can regain his footing, Punk hits him with a suicide dive. As Paul Heyman watches on, Punk shifts his attention toward him. As Punk creeps toward Heyman, he sees this as an opportunity to finally inflict pain on Paul Heyman. He chases him around the ring, but is quickly stopped by Curtis Axel. Punk makes quick work of Axel and stands at the top of the ramp, looking down at a beat Brock Lesnar at ringside. Over the past couple of weeks, Punk has said and showed he's not scared of the Beast and is willing to go toe-to-toe with him, but with SummerSlam right around the corner, can Punk prove that he's the best in the world, or will he fall victim to the Beast incarnate? The match starts and Punk dashes toward Lesnar, only to get picked up and rammed into the corner. Lesnar repeatedly slams his shoulder into Punk's stomach, but Punk starts to fight back, only to be quickly slammed back into the corner and have his stomach annihilated by Lesnar. As Heyman looks on with a devious smile, Lesnar continues to batter Punk in the corner before he throws him across the ring, but Punk quickly gets up and charges at Lesnar, only to get caught and slammed in the corner once again. As Lesnar closes in on Punk, Punk kicks him in the side of the head, stunning him, then hits him with a high knee, sending him sprawling out of the ring, striking while the iron's hot. He hits him with a suicide dive, knocking Lesnar down for good measure. A look of nervousness sets on Heyman's face. As Lesnar struggles to get to his feet, Punk grabs the steel steps and charges forward, but is stopped by the brute strength of a recovered Lesnar. Lesnar hoists Punk on his shoulders and attempts to ram him into the ringside post, but Punk reverses. CM Punk takes over and begins to build momentum, but his attention is quickly turned toward Paul Heyman. Punk begins to slowly creep towards Heyman and grabs a hold of him, finally getting a chance to put a beating on him, but is quickly stopped by Brock Lesnar. Lesnar then tosses around Punk ringside, like a domestic abuser tosses around his victim in the middle of a heated argument. For the next few minutes, Brock Lesnar continued to ragdoll Punk around the ring. After a few throws, Brock would go for a pin, but CM Punk would kick out, showing that he wasn't giving up that easily and that he had a lot left in the tank. A frustrated Brock wraps Punk in a chokehold, but Punk, feeding off the emotions of the crowd, is able to fight back and break free. Punk then channels his inner Mike Tyson and starts biting Brock Lesnar's ear. Punk continues with a combination of forearms, leaving Lesnar dazed and confused. Punk then climbs to the top turnbuckle, jumps off, and hits Lesnar with a flying knee, sending him rolling back into the corner. Punk waits for Lesnar to stand to his feet before he hits him with a signature high knee. With Lesnar still on his feet, he hits him with another one. Lesnar's not down yet. Punk tries again, but is caught by Lesnar. But Punk slips out and nails Lesnar with a roundhouse kick, finally dropping him to the floor. Punk climbs the top turnbuckle and hits Lesnar with a flying elbow. He goes for the pin. 1, 2, but Lesnar kicks out, keeping the match alive. Punk then signals for the GTS. He gets Lesnar on his shoulders, but Lesnar screws out and picks Punk up for the F5, but Punk wiggles out and hits him with a roundhouse kick. Lesnar falls to the mat. Punk falls back on the rope, and Heyman stands outside looking shocked. Punk walks over to Lesnar, picks him up for the GTS, tries it, but Brock counters Punk in the Kimura. Punk, in the same move that broke Shawn Michaels' arm earlier that year, frantically thinks of what to do next. Quickly, Punk escapes and puts Lesnar in the armbar, then a triangle chokehold. Lesnar, using his size and strength to his advantage, picks Punk up for a powerbomb, hits it, but Punk manages to hold on. Punk then pushed Lesnar in a triangle chokehold, and Lesnar fights the urge to tap out, tries the powerbomb again. This time, he's successful. Lesnar goes for the pin, but Punk kicks out at 2. After hitting Punk with 3 amigos, Brock leaves the ring and walks toward a steel chair, staring at it menacingly. Lesnar grabs the chair and looks around the arena. Meanwhile, Punk is in the background, climbs to the top turnbuckle, and jumps off at his unsuspecting Lesnar, but using his quick reflexes, puts the chair over him, causing Punk to fall into it face first. Both Punk and Lesnar are down, but Punk gets to his feet first, grabs the chair, and repeatedly slams it across Lesnar's back. With both wrestlers back in the ring, Punk goes for another chair attack, but Lesnar stops him and snatches the chair. Lesnar, trying to give Punk a taste of his own medicine, tries a chair attack, but is quickly stopped by a low blow. With Heyman looking on worried, Punk climbs to the top turnbuckle again with chair in hand. Punk poses at the top before jumping off, performing a chair plus flying elbow attack. Punk goes for the pin. 1, 2, no! Brock kicks out. A fired up Punk hits Lesnar with the steel chair. Punk goes for another one, but out of nowhere, Heyman grabs the chair out of Punk's hand. Punk turns around and a smile forms on his face as he sees Paul Heyman on the apron. Punk grabs at the tie around the walrus-like neck of Paul Heyman. Sees this as his chance to revenge, but is once again stopped by Lesnar. Lesnar picks him up for an F5, but Lesnar was too close to the rope, as while in the F5 position, Punk grabs a hold of Paul Heyman's tie. Lesnar screams at Heyman to let go.
Instead of Heyman, by the tie! Let go! Lesnar screaming to Heyman to let go! But Punk's hanging on! Let go! The walrus is blubbering! What are you joking?
But there's nothing Heyman could do. Eventually, Lesnar rips Heyman and Punk apart. However, Punk falls out of the F5 position. Punk quickly gets a hold of Lesnar and hits him with the GTS. Punk goes for the pin, but at the 2 count, Heyman breaks up the pin. Punk, tired of Heyman's antics, chases him around the ring. Heyman slides into the ring with Punk following suit, but Punk walks into the F5. Lesnar throws Punk off his shoulders, but mid-air, Punk counters with a DDT. Punk goes for the pin. 1, 2, no. Brock kicks out, leaving Heyman relieved and shocked at the same time. Punk then traps Brock into the Anaconda Vice as the WWE Universe screams for Brock to tap. Punk looks at Heyman, shouting, "What are you gonna do now?" With the Vice still locked in, Heyman slides in with a chair, but is stopped by Punk. Punk grabs Heyman by his ears, punches him in the face, and locks him into the Anaconda Vice. Soon, a recovered Lesnar viciously slams the steel chair on CM Punk. Lesnar does it 2 more times before picking Punk up for an F5 onto the steel chair. Lesnar grabs Punk like a dead body, drags him over for the pin. 1, 2, 3. Brock wins the match. As Heyman and Brock walk up the entrance ramp after this long, grueling battle, Punk lays bruised and beaten in the ring. After this match, Punk would continue his feud with Paul Heyman, then go on to feuds with the Wyatt family, The Shield, and The Authority before leaving WWE after the 2014 Royal Rumble. After SummerSlam, Brock would go on a hiatus before returning on the December 30th episode of Raw. Lesnar would go on to feud with The Big Show, beating him at the Royal Rumble. He would then go on to a feud with The Undertaker and face him at WrestleMania in the match with the most shocking ending in WWE history. But that is a story for another time.